My name is Alex. I have an Instagram and also a YouTube Love Sugar show. So I want to thank you and welcome you to the show. Of
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me.
course. So today we're going to be talking about this awesome album. I listened to it the other day. I really, really enjoyed it. There's so much fun stuff. So I can't wait to talk to you about this. But before we get into all
Yeah,
that,
great.
anyone who does watch my show,
hmm
the first question that I always ask anyone that I ever interview is how's everything going? Not just in your music life, but also in your personal life as well.
yeah, pretty good. Busy. I also run a business, videography business, as well. So that keeps me very, yeah, busy.
Mhm.
And I'm also just planning in the starting to plan a pre-production for a short film at the moment as well. So it's sort of like I kind of have like a next artistic thing, whether it's like another album or another film or something like that, sort of on the go when
Mhm.
something's starting to like kind of wind up a little bit. So this is sort of like we're about to release this sort of thing. So the artistic part of it is kind of finished. So I've always got this like the next thing kind of coming up. So yeah, it's sort of a bit hectic at the moment. But yeah, pretty good.
Well,
How are
that's
you
awesome.
doing?
I just got off work, walked my dog, so I'm good.
Yeah, nice.
So one thing I did want to mention about the album is kind of reading over the biography. It's very, very detailed. Like there's like a whole like a story. It's very in depth. So what comes first when you're
Mm.
writing an album like this? Is it the story, the riff, the atmosphere, kind of like the creative process? How does it kind of get started?
Yeah, it was interesting with this one. I sort of from the our first album, Spiritual Beast, there was some sort of like uh, we started to get into a little bit of like kind of Arabic melodies and stuff. We sort of like hint at it a little bit, and I think that there was just a bunch of those sorts of riffs and melodies and stuff still kind of left in the tank. And I
Mhm.
came across this story, the story that this is sort of loosely based on, and I was like, oh, that'd be a sick EP to do. And
Mhm.
then uh, the two sort of just like kind of came together where it's like, I'll just maybe start writing a couple of songs or something like that. And then it just sort of snowballed. It was like, oh, no, actually, there's like heaps of melodies and stuff happening
Mhm.
where so it's just like, ah, great. And this just like goes perfectly for like a desert Egyptian sort of theme and all that sort of stuff. So um, with this one, it was for the previous album, it was the music first, and then the story sort of like came about halfway through.
Mhm.
But with this one, I'd say it was the story first, and then the music. This one was pretty much like, yeah, I knew the story, so I knew exactly what to do, song wise, like how many songs I needed and what sort of like emotional points I needed to hit, and all that sort of stuff. So,
And did you have like interest in like Egyptian stuff or like Middle Eastern stuff, or was it just like, hey, I just want to write an album and it just kind of organically came together?
yeah, I kind of feel like, like sort of feel like everyone's interested in like ancient Egyptian stuff, just because it's like it's hard not to be because it's the craziest, like most aesthetically pleasing culture. I think they just did the most insane stuff and the artwork and all that sort of thing. Um, so it's definitely always been there. And I sort of grew up listening to a fair bit of kind of Arabic music as well. Like my dad was always playing um like a bunch of music from all over the world really, and he's just like he's from New Zealand, so he's just like a white guy that's just into weird or what was weird then sort of thing, so a real like eclectic kind of guy. So yeah, I just sort of was brought up with that, so I think a part of it sort of just came naturally. So yeah, but like history, like ancient history and stuff like that, that's I spend a lot of time just on YouTube, just researching that stuff or like reading up on it. I've just got a fascination with ancient history and ancient history podcasts and all that sort of stuff. So
So is this based off of that, or did you kind of like take it and kind of create your own story?
Yeah, so the I guess like the structure is based on Akhenaten's life, sort of thing, but
Mhm.
it's not. I'm not trying to like tell that story or like his story. I made up my own concept around it because I sort of found
Mhm.
his uh, found his story, and I just kind of like imagined it in my own sort of way, in much more dramatic
Yeah.
kind of way. Like his like with my story, the whole universe gets like sucked into a black hole sort of thing. So that I'm pretty sure that didn't happen in his life. So like
Yeah.
yeah.
So when creating this, was it important to you to make the album like a journey rather than just songs put together?
Uh yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh I I think the way that I approach making albums is that yeah, it's less of a bunch of singles or something like that. I feel like that the songs all have to serve a purpose sort of thing. So it's like a holistic. I'm going into it writing an album and telling a whole story. So it has to be a holistic thing. It's not just like a random 10 songs that I came up with and just try to loop them together. It's like um, yeah, I've got these songs need to be the beginning of the album. These songs, like I need to find ways to write songs to get it to fit the piece of the story, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. And one thing I also wanted to talk about, like kind of fitting things in together. I know there's like you said, like a Middle Eastern vibe. How did you like approach fitting that into the album and kind of just creating it into this album instead of, just something generic?
Um, you mean like the um like as in like how did I make it like a Middle Eastern vibe sort of thing, or
Yeah, how did it like all fit together so it like turned into an album?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I really know. Like, I think I
That's the
just
best
keep, I,
answer.
I think I just keep going, with songwriting until I feel like, the story's been told. Like, I feel like I've got enough, um, stuff to tell the story sort of thing. Like, I'm satisfied that I've hit all those
Hmm.
points and everything. And I think that with the Middle Eastern vibe, um, there's sort of like three chords that I use a lot
Hmm.
in pretty much every song. So they were sort of like the anchor point, and that those three chords like they inspired a lot of the Middle Eastern like melodies and stuff like that. So that was sort of my yeah, like anchor point for each of the songs. If I was using those chords, I knew that I would make it so that every song had some sort of Middle Eastern melody because that was where it was sort of all coming from, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like or based around, all the melodies were based around those chords. So
So everything was just based around three chords, basically.
pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome.
Like I said, when I showed the guys the songs when I was teaching them the songs, I was like, these three chords, like learn them because that's good. Like when in doubt, it's one of those chords. Like we're in that, so yeah, it makes it
And
a
what
little bit
three
easier.
chords were they?
I could not tell you. I'm not musically trained, so I have no idea.
That's even better, right?
Yeah, I think my guitarist could tell you, but yeah, I have no idea.
So one thing I did notice when I was listening to this album is it felt like very cinematic, like almost like I could
Hmm.
build the picture in my head. Was it like meant to be like that? Like, do you see this album as more like a film instead of like a traditional, you're just listening to music, like you can create everything in your head?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a filmmaker as well, so I think I sort of approach songwriting similarly to filmmaking, where it's like, everything in the frame um, needs to lend to the storytelling. So it's like the costumes and the lighting and the colors and all that sort of stuff need to lead to the character. So I sort of did the same thing with the songwriting where I've got like these motifs and sounds and I guess like colors as well that I
Mhm.
use to sort of like represent that character or that sort of feeling or whatever. So I think that like it maybe just comes like when you approach songwriting that way, I think the
Mhm.
byproduct is that it comes across as like cinematic or more cinematic. Um, and
Yeah.
maybe as well just because I'm into like big epic um sorts of stuff and maybe some of the ambient tones as well maybe lend to the like cinematic kind of vibe. I guess because I've written it, I don't specifically know, but uh, like I guess you could tell me like what are the points that sort of made it feel more cinematic, sort of thing. Like, was it like is it that like ambient sort of stuff, or is it like the structure in the songs or the album, or I don't know. Like, you tell me.
Honestly, for me, it just made it like it kind of felt like a movie soundtrack, like something that you would hear in a movie. So then I'm like, okay, I'm in this world. I'm in like a desert. I'm like, like I'm seeing pyramids and things like that. So in my head, like I love reading too.
Hmm.
So I do the same thing with music. Like I see the picture in my head. So that's what kind of made it like
Yeah,
that for
yeah.
me. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I guess I've got the same thing with like my filter, whether like a riff or chords or something like that, or melodies and stuff, make it into the album is when I'm playing it or coming up with it. If it's like activating that like thing of like, oh yeah, I'm in the desert right now. I'm like, oh, all I'm seeing is sand right now. So it's like, great, that's it. Put it in.
yeah. So I know you mentioned that you did like films and stuff. Are you going to do like a short film kind of that represents this album or maybe direct some music videos for the album or anything like that?
Yeah, so we've got a music video, like all of our like music videos have they're pretty much done like a film. So we're not ever gonna feature in our music videos, sort of like playing shots of us playing or anything like that.
Hmm.
So the film for this is sort of like a um it takes the entire concept of the album, I guess, and then it puts it into like a bite-size kind of thing. So I make the
Hmm.
entire album fit inside of like 6 minutes worth of a song.
Hmm.
But obviously we don't have like ancient access to ancient Egypt or anything like that. So it's a little bit of it draws more on the themes of, I think, religion and maybe like cults and also um maybe like leadership sort of thing. There's maybe like a political kind of vibe that you could get from the video clip as well, which is also sort of like themes that I kind of play on as well in the album. So yeah, pretty excited about and that's going to come out with the album as well. So
So people have to wait for that one too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, not too long. I think it's like we're less than 3 weeks away. So
Yeah. So another thing I also mentioned, like I know, like I mentioned, like it was very cinematic this album, but it also felt like really focused and intense. Like it was a lot of thought and like love went into this album, I guess is what I would call it. How did you like get in
mhm.
that creative process to have that outcome?
Um, I think maybe there's also a personal aspect of the story, maybe the part of the story that made me connect with the Pharaoh Akhenaten's like the thing that stood out to me
Hmm.
personally was I kind of saw it from my perspective as this guy who is a uh, seen as sort of like the first independent or unique, um, kind of nearly in terms of like an artist sort of thing, where he's like, I want to change the pantheon into a monotheistic religion. It's like the
Mhm.
first time that ancient Egyptians ever did that, and then he knew sort of like the backlash against that that he would get. And then obviously once he died, like it all didn't work out. And then he died, and then they all tried to expunge his name from history and all that sort of stuff. I
Mhm.
think for the thing that I related to was maybe my artistic journey. If you see the sun, the relationship that he has with the sun is sort of my relationship to art, where I've been doing
Mhm.
this for um I don't even know, like maybe like 18 years or something like that. I've been trying to like be an artist
Yeah.
uh like as a career for nearly 18 years, and uh it just sort of, I guess it hasn't really like worked out for me yet, or a lot of my artistic goals haven't really led to anything else, like to a career or anything like that, or to like
Mhm.
opportunities outside of it. So I kind of get a bit um uh like it just feels like this pointless endeavor sometimes, but it's
Mhm.
also like a bit of a curse, because it's like this thing of this sun, this artistic drive gives me so much joy, and I feel like it's this thing that I need to be doing with my life, um
Yeah.
like compulsively. Like he needs to sort of like follow, like his relationship to the sun is that he needs to follow the this god's like orders sort of
Mhm.
thing. But it just is like leading him into a dead end sort of thing. So it's like that was the thing that I'm kind of that's what I personally gained from the from his story. So I
Mhm.
think that maybe that is the thing that like comes through with it being like a labor of love, like, and I'm putting so much effort into it and all that sort of stuff, is
Yeah.
because I'm using the way that I feel about this like sort of craft into and putting it into the music sort of thing. So it's not just coming from a conceptual place of uh this character's doing this thing and this stuff is happening or whatever. It's also coming from a place of like, this is how I feel about what's going on in my life, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that kind of leads me into another question then. I know at the ending you talked about like a dark hole happens and that kind of like puts an intentional like hopeless ending because you can never really, well, people say you once you go in you don't go out of a black hole. Was that also like built around this emotions as well?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's kind of like where I'm at now, where it just feels like I'm feeding all of this artistic stuff and my life into this black hole. I'm like sacrificing parts of my like finances and time and um, like stress levels and stuff like that to be able to do this sort of stuff. And I'm not quite sure where it's all going, sort of thing. So yeah, that's more of a thing of like where where it's at for me right now. I'm just like, yeah, it kind of just feels like I'm like staring into the void sometimes, or yeah, just throwing money into like a pit and stuff. So yeah, kind of bleak.
Well, on the optimistic side, no one's ever entered a black hole, but people say if you go in, you might come out in a better dimension. So there's that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like this hot and cold like type of person, where it's like I can be very cynical, but I also have a lot of hope, and I just keep doing
Yeah.
the thing as well. So it's like, even though I know that there's like this big looming black hole in the sky that's like sucking everything into it, I'm still just like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, maybe the next time when he gets sucked into the black hole, he pops out and it's a different reality or something. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, talking about the songs, what song was like the most challenging and what made it a challenge?
Um, mm, good question. probably um hmm, I don't know, this whole album really like it was a bit crazy because the whole thing sort of came together way easier than the last album. The last album took like about 8 years of off and
Oh
on
wow.
writing, and there was like one song that I started with writing and I didn't finish it until that final year. Whereas
Mhm.
this album just kind of felt like it fell out of me, sort of thing. But I think maybe one of the challenges would have been like Cult of the Sun, just due to the amount of time signature changes and tempo changes throughout the song. Like it's a long song, and it also kind of the way that it's composed, it kind of like runs for a bit and then pulls back, and it's like kind of like keeps you off balance the
Yeah.
entire time, which is done like on purpose, but to be able to make that work in a way that's not like unlistenable, that
Yeah.
was probably pretty challenging. I think there was like a few iterations of and chopping and changing of riffs and yeah, taking stuff out and putting stuff back in and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it
But
definitely
that
makes
ended up being my favorite song.
so the most challenging is your favorite one too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of from people that have heard it, and even my bassist Francesco was like, when he first heard it, he's like, I don't know anything about this. Like, I don't know what I just listened to. So it's like one of those, like a grower, have to like let it sink in, before it's like, oh wow. And he's like, yeah, now it's like my favorite song. I'm like, yeah, you just gotta give it time.
So one thing I noticed about the album too is it's like silence, but also space. They seem like really important, especially during like the heavier moments. How intentional is that contrast of both?
Yeah, I feel like dynamics are hugely important, especially with metal music and heaviness. It's sort of like when you put on, I find that when I put on a death metal album, it like starts at 10 out of 10, and it never dips like below. So you sort of like that 10 out of 10 becomes like sort of your baseline. And you kind of just get used to how heavy it is for the entire time, sort of thing. So um when they have heavier parts like a breakdown or like a really heavy riff or something like that, I feel like the impact is lessened, because you're already up there and you're already like hitting the roof, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I find that um, when you've got that dynamic thing of yeah, bringing it down to like near silence, or just having that ebb and flow, then when those like really heavy parts kick in, it's just like, whoa, that's like huge because you've gone from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100 sort of thing. So it's just like, yeah, this big wall of sound, sort of thing, as opposed to, yeah, um, just like wearing your listeners' ears out, sort of thing. And then, yeah, maybe you've got some really good riffs, and it's like, it just doesn't pay off as much because it's like, I'm already obliterated by this album, sort of thing.
So I do also want to ask you about the song Eclipse, which is one thing that definitely got me really interested to listen to this album. What made you decide to
hmm
include the real NASA recorded audio into the song?
I had used a little bit of that stuff in the previous album just because I thought that they were super creepy, like kind of effects. Like they just,
Yeah.
I remember when I heard some of those sounds, and it just like made the hair on my back of my neck like stand up and give me goosebumps and stuff.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect atmospheric kind of tone to put in an album. And I was like, oh, it just makes sense. So we start the album with sounds of the sun from NASA, and then like, yeah, end it on the black hole. So it's sort of like this kind of perfect, yeah, just like suits the story. Super well. As soon as I came across it, I was like, pretty much the first my first idea was like, yeah, I'm using those sounds
Yeah.
and making it into the album.
Well, I remember when they released those sounds, I don't know what I was like hoping for, but when I listened to it, I'm like, that sounds really creepy, but cool at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It kind of gives me a bit of was it megalophobia as well because it's just like I can hear it. It's like it's so big. It's like all around us.
Yeah, I try not to think about that. I'm just like, I'll listen to it. It's cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's way far away. It's fine.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I do have one final question here for you. Is there anything you'd like to say to your past fans, anyone interested in listening to the album, or just anyone in general? The floor is yours.
Um, yeah, I think that I'd like if someone's listening to this album to kind of yeah, sit down, like give it the time. I don't maybe don't pick a single or something like that. I kind of hate uh having singles. But it was intended to be listened to in its entirety. So it's like please just like start from the start and go to the end. And just yeah, kind of immerse yourself in it. And I think that is going to give you the best experience of it, as opposed to like, yeah, picking your favorite single. I think I'd like it to be enjoyed holistically. That's what it was designed for. So like, yeah, that's what I'd like.
Well, awesome. For anyone watching this interview, you do have to wait until the 8th for it to actually come out. But like always, I put all the links under the video so you have no excuse not to click on it. The album is called Call to the Sun, and I've listened to it. I think it's so cool. It's like very Middle Eastern, Egyptian, everything we talked about in this interview. And if you don't listen to it, this is definitely an album you'll regret not listening to. I can tell everyone that much.